The story of Salman Khan, the lion who never stopped fighting. Introduction. Hello, my dear learner. Let me ask you something today that I want you to really sit with for a moment. Have you ever watched someone from a distance and thought they had everything? The looks, the money, the fame, the success. And from the outside, their life looked like a perfect film, full of glamour and excitement and zero problems. And then you found out the truth, that behind all that brightness, there was a person fighting battles that nobody could see, carrying weight that nobody fully understood, making mistakes that cost them enormously, and somehow, through all of it, still standing, still smiling, still refusing to give up. Today, I am going to tell you the story of exactly that kind of person. A man who was born into privilege, but built his own identity from scratch. A man who became one of the biggest film stars in the world, but also became one of the most controversial human beings in India. A man who has been loved by hundreds of millions and criticized by millions more. A man who has faced courts, cameras, criticism and comebacks more times than anyone can count. A man who, despite everything, and there is a lot of everything in this story, still fills stadiums, still breaks box office records, still makes children smile, and still, at 60 years old, walks onto a stage with that particular energy that very few human beings on this earth possess. His name is Salman Khan, and his story, messy, complicated, human and extraordinary, has lessons for every single one of us. Let us begin.
Part 1. Born into a story already written, and then rewriting it. Salman Khan was born on the 27th December 1965 in Indore, India. His father, Salman Khan, was one of the most celebrated screenwriters in Bollywood history, the man who co-wrote the legendary films Sholay and Diwar. So yes, Salman was born into a film family. That is true. But here is what is also true, and what people often forget. Being born into a film family in Bollywood does not guarantee you anything. It opens one door, just one. What happens after that door opens depends entirely on you. Salman grew up in a large, busy, loving household. His mother, Sushila Charak, known as Salma, is a warm and deeply grounded woman who raised her children with values that had nothing to do with stardom. His stepmother, Helen, the legendary dancer and actress, brought her own grace and love into the family. Salman grew up surrounded by creativity, storytelling and the film world, but he also grew up being told quietly and firmly that character matters more than fame. He was not a serious student. He was energetic, restless, physical and social. He loved sports.
He loved people. He had a natural magnetism, the kind that makes everyone in a room turn when you walk in. That cannot be taught in any school. And when he decided to try acting, nobody handed it to him. He auditioned, he worked, he waited. And in 1988, at the age of 22, he appeared in his first film, Maine Pyar Kiya. The response was immediate, massive, and completely unexpected, even by the people who made the film. India had found a new kind of hero. The lesson of part 1, a good beginning helps, but it never decides the ending. What you do with the door that opens, that is entirely yours to choose. Part 2, The Rise, when the whole country fell in love. Maine Pyar Kiya in 1989 was not just a hit film, it was a cultural earthquake. Salman Khan, young, fresh, with an open smile and an effortless charm, became the face of a new generation of Indian youth. Girls put his posters on their walls. Boys copied his hairstyle. The film became one of the highest-grossing Bollywood films of its time, and Salman, overnight, became a star. What followed through the 1990s was a career of tremendous highs. Hum Aapke Hain Kaun in 1994 became a family phenomenon, a film that entire Indian families watched together again and again. Khamoshi, Judwa, Kuch Kuch Hota Hai in a supporting role, each film adding another layer to his presence in Indian cinema and Indian hearts.
But here is what made Salman different from the other stars of his generation, and this is important. He was never just a film star. He was a personality. He was the kind of person that ordinary people felt they actually knew. He spoke bluntly. He laughed loudly. He cried publicly. He was not polished or careful or distant the way big stars often are. He was, for better and for worse, completely, uncomplicatedly himself. And in a world full of carefully managed images and perfectly crafted personas, that raw, unfiltered humanness was magnetic beyond explanation. The lesson? You do not have to be perfect to be loved. You have to be real. Salman Khan has always been completely, messily, unapologetically real, and that is exactly why hundreds of millions of people have never stopped feeling connected to him. Part 3. The Falls, when everything became complicated. No story worth telling is only about the good parts, and Salman Khan's story has parts that are genuinely difficult to talk about. In 1998, he was involved in a black buck poaching case in Rajasthan, killing protected deer during a film shoot. The legal case lasted for nearly 20 years, with court appearances, convictions, bail, appeals, and enormous public debate. In 2002, his car drove into a group of people sleeping on a pavement in Mumbai, killing one person and injuring others. Another devastating legal case that dragged on for years. These are not small things. These are serious events with serious consequences for real people. And it would be dishonest to tell Salman Khan's story without acknowledging them clearly. He has faced enormous criticism. He has been the subject of some of the most intense public and legal scrutiny that any Indian celebrity has ever experienced. And through all of it, he has continued to work, to face the public, to appear on screens and stages, while simultaneously appearing in courtrooms. What this part of his story teaches us is not that mistakes do not matter. They do. It teaches us something more uncomfortable and more honest. That human beings are complicated, that a person can do genuine good in the world and also cause genuine harm, that the same person who builds schools and feeds the hungry can also make choices that hurt others. The lesson of Part 3: do not build your life on the idea that you are either all good or all bad. Acknowledge your mistakes, face their consequences, and keep trying to do better. That is all any of us can do. Part 4. Being Human. The side of Salman the world forgets. Here is the part of Salman Khan's story that deserves far more attention than it usually gets. In 1999, Salman Khan started a charitable organization called Being Human, the Salman Khan Foundation. And what began as a small initiative has grown into something genuinely remarkable. Being Human works in two primary areas: healthcare and education, providing medical treatment and schooling to thousands of underprivileged people across India. The organization has funded heart surgeries for children whose families could not afford them. It has built schools in areas where children had no access to education. It has trained young people in skills that give them employment and dignity.
The Being Human clothing brand, whose profits go directly to the foundation, has raised millions of rupees for these causes.
Salman Khan has quietly, with very little fuss and far less publicity than he gives to his films, changed the actual lives of thousands of ordinary Indian families. People who will never be famous, people whose names will never appear in any newspaper, people who are alive, educated and employed because of the work of this foundation. He has also been known for decades for his personal generosity, helping struggling actors with money, launching careers of newcomers who had nobody else to turn to, supporting colleagues through illness and crisis with quiet, private assistance that never makes the news because he never wants it to. The lesson: your greatest achievements may never be the ones the public sees. The real measure of a person is not their fame or their wealth. It is what they do for others, quietly, consistently, without applause. Part 5. Salman Khan today. Still standing, still giving. Today, in 2026, Salman Khan is 60 years old. He is still one of the highest paid actors in India. His films, particularly the Dabangg series and the Tiger franchise, have together earned billions of rupees at the box office. His television show, Big Boss, which he has hosted for over 15 seasons, remains one of the most watched programs on Indian television year after year. His social media following numbers in the hundreds of millions.
But perhaps what is most extraordinary about Salman Khan in 2026 is not any of those numbers. It is the simple, remarkable fact that he is still here, still working, still connecting with audiences that span 3 generations. Grandparents who watched Main Pyar Kiya in theatres in 1989, parents who grew up with Hum Aapke Hain Kaun, and children today who know him from Tiger 3 and Big Boss. That kind of multi-generational connection, that ability to remain relevant, warm and loved across decades of enormous change in culture, technology and entertainment, is not an accident. It is the result of one simple quality that Salman Khan has never lost in nearly 40 years of public life. He genuinely loves people, not as a strategy, not as a brand exercise. He loves meeting them, entertaining them, making them laugh, and helping them when he can. And people, across every barrier of age, language, class, and region, feel that love coming back at them every time they see his face. The lesson? Longevity in anything comes from genuine love for what you do, and genuine care for the people you do it for.
Ending. What you learned. My dear learner, what a complicated, honest, genuinely human story we have shared today. We sat with a young boy who had one door open for him and chose to walk through it with everything he had. We watched a generation fall in love with a smile and a kind of magnetic realness that no acting school could teach. We faced the difficult parts honestly, because a story without its shadows is not a real story at all. We discovered the quiet, consistent generosity of a man who has spent decades giving to people the world would otherwise forget. And we arrived here together at a 60-year-old man who is still standing, still filling stadiums, still refusing to let time or controversy or criticism define the final chapter of his story. Let me leave these lessons gently with you. The first lesson: a good start helps, but character decides the ending. Salman was born into a film family, but what he built, the connection, the longevity, the love, he built himself. Your beginning is not your destiny.
The second lesson: be real, not perfect. Salman Khan is not a perfect human being. He has never pretended to be. And that honest, unfiltered realness has kept him connected to ordinary people for nearly 40 years. Stop trying to appear perfect. Start trying to be genuine. The third lesson: your mistakes do not define you, but you must face them. Acknowledge what went wrong, accept the consequences, and then keep trying to do better. That is not weakness. That is the only honest way to move forward. The fourth lesson: do good quietly. The most important work Salman Khan has done, the heart surgeries, the schools, the quiet personal generosity, almost none of it makes the front page. The best things you do in your life may never be seen by anyone except the person whose life they change. Do them anyway.
Thank you. Thank you sincerely and warmly for your time, your attention, and your growing, curious mind. You are learning English, and some days that journey feels exactly like Salman Khan's career, full of effort, occasional setbacks, moments of doubt, and then, suddenly, a breakthrough that reminds you why you started. Keep going. Stay real. Do good quietly. Love your work with everything you have. And remember, the most compelling stories are never the ones without difficulty. They are the ones where someone faced the difficulty and kept going anyway. That someone can be you. I will be here with another story whenever you are ready.